She just wanna work and pay her bills. Fuck up on a man who keep it real. That's right. She just want her girls to know the deal. They do. She just told her boss just how she feel. Fuck you. She just hit the club up on a Thursday. Told the bartender I ain't feeling thirsty. Took a couple shots just like it's her birthday. Hit the tree up just like it was Earth Day.
Saw her at a club in a Lambo. She don't eat no pork, she gon' have no. Got these niggas shooting shots, call them Rambo. Wanna let them know it's not a man's world. They try to tap it and they black, call them Sambo. They try to tap it and they white, call them CIA. She know the truth about the game, and she don't play. She know the truth about the fame, so she okay. You like blah blah blah, she like
dollar signs.
You like rent this here, she like
I'm buying mine.
She got her besties back when it is trying times. She used to boost the pack when it was flying time. All around the world, see those pretty girls. Yeah, lights, camera, action. She ain't even acting.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of We Don't Sip Tea, We Drink Wine. I'm your girl, Miss JLH, and I just want to introduce my guest really quickly as we go through another amazing episode of reviewing Season 3 of Atlanta. So, introduce yourself, Van and Dominic, real quick for the people. Let them know who you are, where you're from, what you're about, and then we can get into episode 5.
All right, it is me again, Van Everett from the Scenario Radio Show, Real Talk with a Playlist. Excited about talking about this particular episode.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dominic, owner of Slevin Studio, cinematographer, photographer. New film is still out or render. Go check it out. It's on YouTube right now.
Word, yes, and it's really good, y'all. Definitely check it out. All right, so Atlanta, episode 5, season 3. It was called Cancer Attack, which I thought was an interesting title for the show because technically we only dealt with cancer on a level of like a small scale, I guess. But it says sometimes shows just be over my head acting fake deep. Where's the poop jokes? I thought that was an interesting self-reflection of the episode because I didn't feel like I don't know, maybe they were trying to be deep in this episode. Okay, so let me just go through it. I'm just thinking about it. So the scene opens up with Earn and he's really on his manager shit, okay? We see him completely come full circle and step into this role of manager, and it's really nice to see because the very first season of Atlanta, Earn was living with his parents, hopping from couch to couch, and living out of his storage unit, everything. And now you see him just doing 10 times better. So that was just really nice to see. And then Paperboy was doing meet and greets and having his own room backstage. So it was just really nice to see everybody just kind of coming into their own self. How did y'all feel about seeing them and where they are now?
I thought that watching Earn be again, you get a little bit more of watching Earn be a competent manager and really just, excelling at it at this point. Thought that was cool and just really showing again, as you mentioned, the where they are now aspect of all of it with him, with Paperboy, who is he's fallen into. What we find as the episode progresses, we kind of find that he's kind of falling into a creative rut, so to speak, but he's things are going well for him as far as generating income and getting shows and all of that. And the most interesting thing about, I guess, the where are they now aspect is the relationship between Earn and Paperboy at this point, which doesn't really have much substance to it that isn't logistic based. It's all about the work right now. They're not really, you can tell they're not really connecting, which doesn't seem, I guess maybe it's not a bad thing, but they're definitely not connecting.
Do either one of y'all view that as a problem? Because technically it seemed like Paperboy was really telling Earn to get on his shit last season.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dominic.
For Earn, I don't think it's a problem because, the end of season 2, Paperboy like had that serious conversation with him, like let him know he needs to be on top of his stuff to be able to like get him to the next level because all this could go away very quickly. And Ern was able to, as you see in this episode, he was finally able to step up, show that he can actually be a competent manager. But for Paperboy, he still wanted his cousin to be his cousin, not just a manager. That's what, and he's starting to realize that there's that distance between them, where it's just Ern's his manager first and foremost, then he's his cousin.
Yeah. But I feel like that's and it's hard to like break away from business and then, you know, personal relationships, because at the end of the day it's like, well, you can't have both. It's either one or the other. And this is pretty much what Paperboy wanted, and he wanted to be on that level. It's interesting because it feels like in this episode, Paperboy is really thinking about second guessing his fan and his base and his stardom and all of this.
Yeah, it also I think if we learn anything from the past couple of seasons is that Ern can't handle doing both. It needs to be one or the other. And it's good that he's decided to, just really lean into taking care of business and do that. And we also know that if you're managing someone like Paperboy, who really doesn't care to be about the business of it at all, he needs someone who's going to be strictly about the business. So, he's not someone who's going to be taking personal responsibility for things. So you need somebody who can compensate for that and anticipate it, which Ern in this episode shows that he does. He anticipates Paperboy's needs before Paperboy can even speak them for the most part.
I didn't even think about that. Seeing Paperboy with a large crowd like that and performing in front of a huge setup was a big step up from season 1, because remember, we was just trying to see Paperboy go on the radio. They was in the club in the VIP section. Nobody know who he was. Like, it's just really funny to look back at how far they've come. So I think it's crazy that a lot of people didn't like this season, because I feel like this season was a huge progress in showing, for one, hip hop and R&B is huge overseas, obviously. That's something we don't talk about enough. And for two, I think it goes to say a lot of how often our Black artists or Black entertainers do tend to go overseas to make more money, and they do flourish even better. So I think that showed a lot of that this season that made me think of that as well. What was your thoughts on that?
Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to jump in. I
don't want y'all to. I don't want to be like, "Ooh, man, Dominic, I don't want to call you out," but yeah, y'all so nice to each other.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool to get to see some of that in action. My take on all of it has always been that it's less about, like, it's a show that has characters. And that the characters are interesting. So people obviously want to see the characters, but at its heart, it's not really a character-driven show. It's defined by these different ideas, really, more than it is the characters. The characters are just vehicles most of the time. So no matter what they're doing, I'm always interested because I'm just waiting to see what the idea is going to be. But it is interesting to see some of that play out. Having Paperboy see more success and the things that come with it. To see, it's also always interesting to watch Darius be Darius in the middle of all of it, because that never changes.
Right.
No matter what else is happening, Darius is still Darius, and he's almost in his own universe most of the time.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Dominic?
For people like not really liking the season, I get it, just because it was just how like the episodes that had the different like anthology episodes, so it wasn't following the original crew. Because this is we're on episode 5, and this is like the 3rd episode where we're actually with the OG gang, and I can get it because people want to see the story of them and how like Paperboy's doing these concerts, finally making it big, earn on his shit. Darius being Darius, but But again, it like Van mentioned, this Atlanta is more about an idea, and those characters are the vehicles for it. But they found a different way to still showcase that idea, but use other people for the vehicle in like the anthology episodes beforehand and later in the season. But for me, I enjoyed it just because it's been a fun ride where you get to see the different ideas as well as see the progression of Paperboy and Earn and all them.
I agree. I mean, this is episode 5. We're almost done with the season here. What do you think those standalone episodes meant? Because even last season, we did get standalone episodes, but we still got individual characters within those standalone episodes. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't the whole gang together, but we got bits and pieces of them going through life individually in their own standalone episodes. This season though, we have standalone episodes with none of them in them, and it's just random standalone episodes about harsh realities of life for blackness. So what do you think that all meant for it to just come together for this season to tie into what they were going through?
I think a part of what we got, the reason, I mean, really, and I don't know this obviously for sure because I don't know anybody on the writing staff. I think part of what happened was that there were certain stories that they could not figure out how to tell using the main characters. It's like you
Mm.
said, they had standalone. They used, and although they've always went in the left field easily, but I think there were things that they wanted to do with the stories that they just couldn't really find a way to do with the main characters and really make it travel a lot more. I think it would have been just as frustrating for a lot of listeners, for a lot of viewers, excuse me, if they had, say, for instance, taken something like, well, any of those episodes, the anthology episodes, and put those characters in those situations, because then it would have felt like it was all over the place too. But it would have been worse because you're seeing the character, you're expecting a progression from where they were last time, and all of a sudden they're talking. It's a whole episode about reparations, and then the next episode is about an adoption situation or whatever. So it's like they wanted to tell the stories. They knew that they were wrapping this thing up, and I guess they just figured it would be the best way to go about it.
Hmm.
um at least that's what it felt like on some
Yeah.
level,
Uh,
but I don't know.
Is that your
nah,
thoughts
honestly,
too, though? Okay.
yeah, my bad. But honestly, I thought the same thing just because the overall the with the season, it's the overall arc and message has been just about like blackness and white supremacy, and because again they're in Europe, kind of kind of just the birthplace of it. So to be able to like showcase it with the original characters, it realistically wouldn't be able to like fit in there, especially with like the layer episodes as well as like the reparation one.
Mm.
How how they were able to like fit that in, it wouldn't the flow wouldn't have been there as much, and it would have felt like an anthology with them in there. It would just it would felt I don't know. Personally, for me, I feel like it will feel even off for the characters and be like
Uh-huh.
out of character for them to go through those different scenarios because they don't really it's not in context for the story, so it doesn't really make sense. It makes sense in the overall message of what they're trying to do with the season, but not for the characters. So with them doing the anthology episodes, it's able to still have the story without messing up the character development and story arcs that they've been setting up.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting what you said too about them going back to the root of place of where it kind of all started, because I feel like not I feel like, but typically Black people tend to escape America and go to Europe or
Mm.
some other place to get away from the racism here because it's not as, I guess, overt over there. So it's interesting that we go back to something where it's kind of like the birthplace for stuff.
Huh. Yeah.
So, thanks.
One of the things is and if I would recommend, I don't know if either of you have watched. There is a show. I think it's called The Premise. It's a Hulu original,
Mhm.
and it was written by B.J. Novak, one of the writers from The Office, and it's an
Mhm.
anthology show. It's an example of what I think Atlanta would have been if they had decided to just escape their main characters. If you get a chance, check that show out. It's a great show. It's a dark comedy, and it's very left of center too. But yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna check it out, definitely.
Okay.
So okay, so back to Atlanta. Paperboy loses his phone, right? So now we get into the nitty gritty. He loses his phone after he does his little meet and greet with this little boy who has cancer, and he's a huge Paperboy fan. And the white guy Socks, he's the only one like super upset that Paperboy lost his phone. Did y'all think he was a culprit from the beginning or not?
I didn't.
I didn't.
Me neither.
I'm not gonna lie. That came out of left field when I found that out.
Same. I didn't think that either. So they start to suspect the owner's nephew through marriage, and he knows so much about Paperboy. So they really start thinking that he really did steal the phone. This kid, they think he's a kid, but this guy's like in his 30s. He's like so
Yeah.
weird. He asked for my favorite part is when he asked for the cigarette and he starts coughing. He says, "Why does anyone smoke these?" Yo, this kid Alfred got so bad. He was so tight. But I thought that was so funny. What was your favorite part about their interaction with this kid?
The
Yeah,
simple fact that he kept on like at the end of the episode, we realized he was innocent, but like he just kept on just psychologically messing with each and every one of them, like bringing up how the fact that oh, Ern, you talk white, you probably have a problem with that, didn't you? And just sort of break him down, and then just kept on saying things that would just mess with them that made it seem like he knew more than he actually did.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
But realistically, this is how he is.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he was just entirely weird. He was entirely weird, but at the same time, they kept leaving the door open for suspicion, so that you
Mm.
you just couldn't quite put your finger on what he knew or what he was just assuming about them. Like everything that he said about Paperboy, or the things he was saying were like, well, those sound as much like poetry as they sound like direct ideas about Paperboy himself. Is like, yeah, you could infer anything if somebody mentions a rose and being hurt by a rose, the thorn of a rose, and Paperboy did. And him talking about, if you take a black guy from the southeast and you mention his love for box Chevys, it's not hard to assume that that may be a real thing for him.
I'm
It's just,
dead.
Yeah.
trust me, I'm from the southeast. You can pretty much, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting somebody who loved a box Chevy at one time or another. So that's not really that far fetched either. But you don't know. You just don't know, did he get all this from the phone or did he not? So yeah,
Yeah,
that
well,
whole
it gets
interaction was cool.
yeah, I agree, but then it gets real deep because he starts he tells Ern that, can he have a phone call? And Ern
Mhm.
reminds him that's not jail. You can make any call you want to. He starts to recite Paperboy's number. So it's like, how did he get that? But
Yeah.
so I feel you. It was just like so many things that he just like, even reciting his lyrics and stuff that no one ever seen before or read or whatever the case may be, songs that he had wrote that he
Uh,
never released. So it was just like, yeah, did he have the phone? Like, what's up with this kid?
yeah.
But did you not think that maybe he was just like this real deep super fan?
I thought that was quite possible that he was just a big super fan, somebody who had been way too deep into all things Paperboy, because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
People can be obsessive, especially, and I know this is me bringing the racial component into it, but it's just how I see those things, especially white fans of black art. They have a way of taking ownership of your art in ways that are really uncomfortable. You know, they can't
Mm.
love it without owning it and without putting their fingerprints all over it. They have to own. They don't
Mm.
want to enjoy you. They want to own you, and that always becomes a problem. It's like, well, how can I have my own thing you if you decide that you want to control it? So that was something that it made me think about when watching the episode. That this idea of fandom and white fandom in specific, that they, this way that they want to control you rather than to simply just enjoy you. They once they consume you, they want to consume you.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Oh
even think
yeah.
of it like that.
Oh no, definitely. Just honestly, the is I wouldn't say just white friends in general, but like there's a lot of white friends, but like in general, like the relationship fans have with like celebrities and everything is this weird parasocial relationship where it's like they listen to everything. It's like they connect to it on a deep level. And it's like, oh, you like my best friend now. You know me from like you know me deeper than anyone else does. Similar to like that, similar to like Eminem's song "Stand." Like that's how
Mm-hmm.
everyone like
Mm.
treats it. Like where they like that super fan who thinks that they're speaking to them only, and they take it to this weird and creepy extent sometimes. And uh this dude, he kind of seemed like he was one of them who was just that deep involved as a super fan for him.
Wow. I didn't even view it like that. Oh, wow. Thanks, y'all. Because I was like, what's the point? What is the point of this stupid episode? And I didn't really like it at first. I don't know. I just thought it was this creepy little kid that just really didn't make any sense and it was just pointless. But
Yeah.
running it back,
The,
I was able to see things a little bit more too.
Yeah, and I don't want to say, I don't mean to single out the white fans, that as if that black fans don't just consume, artists and creatives in a way that takes away their humanity, because they obviously do. I think, but the notion of it often comes across different simply because of our history. What happens, it's the thing that makes "shut up and dribble" so easily coming out of people's mouths when we speak up about things. Where it's like, no, you're only here to be consumed, and that's what we would expect from you. So the things that you have, we want, and we own them. That belief in that ownership feels different when it comes from a white consumer to a black artist a lot of times, and I guess the other way around, uh for a number of reasons. And
I
so,
do agree with
yeah.
that. Yeah, because it
yeah,
kind of feels like a song and dance in a sense, like you are more so have like a fetish, in a sense,
Yeah,
than rather
yeah,
a fandom.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can agree with that. Um, Socks goes on again, and he's still like really hype about this phone. He's about to even say the N word. But you
Mhm.
know what's so funny about this episode is I feel like they hinted a few times that Socks did steal the phone because as soon as Socks gets hype, Earn instantly says, "Oh, he definitely stole it," or something like that. And it's like literally right after Socks gets hype, Earn says that. And of course, he's not referencing Socks, he's referencing the kid. But
Mhm.
it sounds like, okay, for him to say that right after Socks said it, it just kind of sounds like something that they're trying to prepare you for, some foreshadowing that you should have seen.
Mm.
And then even the second time when Socks goes off and he was about to say the N word, Aaron says something again about the kid definitely still in the phone, but then he also wanted to make sure that he heard that Socks was about to say the N word. So I just thought that was funny for them to add that in there because a lot of times white people do feel like once they get around you, they can get comfortable and just be one of the gang.
Yeah, that it's that theme again, the relationship between black and white, black people and white supremacy, what's the cost and who pays. It's Socks is someone whose relationship to blackness, he's infatuated with it, and like you were saying earlier, he's somebody who fetishizes blackness, and and what he's doing the entire episode is he keeps trying to try it on like a new outfit. He's
Mm.
figuring out ways that, he figured that his anger is the doorway, or this pretend anger is the doorway to him trying it on like an outfit at blackness in some kind of way, instead of just saying, I'm Liam Neeson, I'm the black, I'm the white Liam Neeson, as if he's just race swapping things.
Right.
Yeah, him attempting to slide the N-word in, and then noticing immediately before he can get it out that this isn't going to work, is him dipping his toe into there and saying, oh, okay, well, it doesn't fit just yet, so let me walk off.
That was wild. Dominic, why do you think he stole the phone anyway? Like, what do you? I mean, do you think there was anything really behind it, or just people be stealing?
I don't even know. Honestly, I think it's just one of those things of you gotta be careful who you have in your circle, because Sox was a wild card that they met at the at Nando's party, who
Right.
snuck in with them when they were trying to just get up out of there, and he's still with them. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why. Like, I don't know why they didn't be like, all right, man, kick rocks, get up out of here. But he stayed with the crew for this long, and I don't know. It's just one of those things of it can be your own people, and depending on who you open up your circle to, like, they can backstab you without a second thought, and you thinking, because he was the main one who was like, let's get this phone back. Like, he was the head leader of it, because he blamed the kid with cancer first. Then when
Right.
they found out it was the promoter's nephew came in there, he's like, "Aye, it's probably him." He just kept on shifting blame from someone else and just leading the charge. But
Right.
it's just one of those things to protect your circle. Honestly, in my opinion.
So, what do y'all think the theme of the whole overall, uh, I guess, really like the whole underlying message of the episode was? Because to me, it was like the reality of this episode was just wasn't really about a phone. I felt like it was more so about Paperboy examining his career and just trying to fall in love with music again, and
Mm.
just his choice of being an artist and this life path that he chose. It sounds like he was just kind of say he's been second guessing it for a while. He hasn't really been loving it the way that he used to. And now it's just like, since now he has the money, you know what they say, more money, more problems. So
Mm.
is this really what he wants? Is this even what he loves anymore? So to me, it was like a moment of an episode of Alfred having to go back and just re-examine if this is his life choice or life path. What did y'all think?
I don't know if I found one particular theme for the entire episode, because I think there's a lot of things going on. But the one
Yeah.
thing that really sticks out is this relationship with black art, and so Paperboy's relationship with his art, because he was somebody, he even said, he was doing it, but he was writing, but he wasn't really into it. But once he thought he wasn't going to be able to do it again, he realized how much he wanted to be able to write, and so
Mm.
having that come to him meant something to him. um and so I thought that was important, but that relationship to art, to black art, also comes into play just by this overzealous fan and Socks, because for me the phone is just an example of the way he sees blackness in and of itself. The phone, for Paperboy, the phone is everything. It's all of his information, it's his songs, it's the important things he's putting down about his life. Whereas for Socks, it's just another thing. It's a gold shiny pretty thing that a black guy has, and it's disposable. The minute he's no longer
Mm.
has no use for it, he would throw it away. And
Mm.
so I thought that played out really interesting. And the last part of that relationship with art is this is the kid, is it Wiley? Is that his name? I think it's Wiley. Um
Yeah.
and him playing that song. And I think him, after hearing Paperboy talk about his desire to find his artistic ability again, and this kid playing this song that he's probably been working on. He still seems to have his artistic sensibilities intact. It is just him showing his own appreciation for art in a way that Paperboy has lost, or if he ever even had, they probably takes for granted. Like, it's one thing to keep talking about how, well, white people take black people's art for granted, but to be honest, black people take black people's art for granted a lot of times. And so what happens if you don't appreciate it? You eventually lose it.
I like that. What about you, Dominic? How did you view it?
I saw it more as just more the pitfalls of like a black artist and actually getting to the level that they want. Because as you've seen through the episode, he was able to have the fans be able to play a big venue, have a Make-A-Wish kid come to see him out of all people in the world that he could come to see him.
Right.
Have but also with that, the pitfalls of it, he was able to see like his relationship with him and Ern. You could see that there's that wall built up from Ern switching from being more professional, being like his cousin, to being more professional, just being like strictly his manager. To him again, like not him kind of falling out of love with making music and kind of feeling stuck because it's like this is all I have, and then not being able to like make any more music because having that writer's block, and then also on top of that dealing with the mega fan who was able to just kind of just mess with all of them the entire time, and then Socks, just someone who was added to the crew, but in the end backstabbed him and was the one who took his phone to begin with.
Yeah, I like how we all have different perspectives of this episode. I thought it was really interesting.
That's a
And
sign of a
then
really good show. That's the sign of a really good
word. Word. So at the very, very end, Ern gets a text back from Van finally. And she just pretty much gives him a thumbs up of that, she's okay or whatever. So we'll see later, of course, how Van is doing and what's been going on with her. But did that like throw y'all off? Were you like still wondering what was going on with Van this whole time? Because honestly, I didn't even think about Van at all. It wasn't even like a thought that she wasn't even with them the whole time. I totally forgot.
Yeah, it threw me off. I was because and obviously they meant it that way, because that's not really the text you want to see from somebody that you care about and you haven't seen them in 6 days and you don't know how they're doing. You need to know something. You need to hear something that's going to be a little bit more verbal than a thumbs up, because
Yeah.
anything can be happening. Anybody with your phone can send a thumbs up. So it's like that didn't really help any. And yeah, it's like, so it left a bit of distress, at the end of the episode.
Definitely. How about you,
Yeah,
Dominic? What were your thoughts?
oh no, definitely, because it started showing more of like something is like very much off with Van, because he because you saw the text line and before, it's just he kept on texting and trying to like figure out, yo, you good, you fine, like you still alive, because it's been like like 6 days the last time that they would like even talk, so he didn't even know whether or not she was like alive or dead or not, because he does, even though they have like this weird relationship, he at the end of the day still cares about her. And then by the end of it, just getting a thumbs up, this is just one of those just like infuriating things, because you like he's worried about her, doesn't know what, like Van mentioned, like anyone could have sent that thumbs up. He don't even know if that's really like Van who could have sent it either. But
Right.
but it's showing it's giving more context of like there is something very much off with Van, and then again in later episodes you start to see all the different cracks of like what really is going on with her.
Yeah, and I can't wait, y'all. That's the episode I'm really waiting for it to talk about because that's actually my favorite episode of the entire season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
One other thing that I gotta mention, and I'm thinking about this, especially now that thinking about Dominic and his cinematography, um, his leanings and everything. When the episode ends and they get on the bus and they I think the song is a version of "This Is Dedicated to the One I Love," and they just let it linger. They just, as they're sitting on the bus and they're as it's pulling out, because they could have just ended the episode. You get,
Mm-hmm.
Sox gets on the bus, door closes, cut. That's the end. But they just let it linger, and the movement of the bus and this shot of everyone on the bus and the silence and the heaviness that kind of weighs in. The longer that shot goes, it just feels, you feel an emotional heaviness over it, and you know that the heaviness that you're feeling is about way more than a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
just thought
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was brilliant the way that was done. That when you leave the episode with this heaviness, you're not just thinking, "Oh man, sure sucks that he lost that phone." It's like, yeah, it does, but there's a lot more there to it, and you may not be able to put your finger on it, but you know something is there.
Oh man, I love you so
Yeah.
much because what's so crazy is low key that was in my notes, but I was like, "Ooh, I don't want this to go too long." I was like, "Let's discuss the song that closes out each episode this season," because it's always a vibe. For one, they always pick like these real nice old school vibes, and then like you said, it was like, okay, pan to Alfred, just looking at him about to smoke on the bus, get his mind together because that was a long and stressful day. So
Hmm.
now it's just like, okay, it is something deeper than the phone. Like everybody went through something today, and it's more than just a phone because your life is in your phone now. We don't remember phone numbers. We do put notes in our phone. We do have like old photos that we are dear to us in our phone. So it's sometimes it could be deeper than that, but then also did that song that kid gave him, did that affect him in a way that like really put something in him to ignite him as an artist? Like, what was that whole moment about? What did you think, Dominic?
Oh no, I did like the ending scene because it just like having it linger, just let because you saw all the different things that happened, like realizing like Paperboy is like he's going through it, even though he's at like the peak of it, like he's at the peak. Not I wouldn't say the peak, but he's like finally where he wanted to be at, doing all these different shows. But like it shows that like he he's losing like his creative edge to be able to make the music that got him to there and doesn't know whether or not he can continue doing it, and then losing his
Mm.
phone, not and then he may or may not have gotten inspired by Willie singing that song to him, and he might be actually thinking of more music to do, and then and next year you have Socks chilling in the van, chilling in the bus, knowing damn well he's the one who just tossed his phone into his trash
Mm.
can just before getting in there, and just it shows just like that heaviness of everything that's been going on, and just how everyone is like before, like I'm pretty sure before the days. I'm pretty sure in the beginning of the day, everyone thought it was going to be a chill day, going to be a nice concert, whatever. And then there's just that like heaviness over everyone because of just all that just that crazy scenario that just happened after the concert.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, thanks for bringing that up, man. I was totally gonna let it slide. That was such a good analysis. I'm so proud of that. All right, y'all. So I can't wait to discuss episode 6. Um, I actually don't remember what episode 6 is about. Does anybody?
I
Um,
can't remember if it's white fashion or what it is.
Oh,
it was
yes,
you.
yes.
Is
That
white.
is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember if I like that episode or not either. I forgot. It's funny because I don't know. I like going back now. It's like I look at it deeper. At first, it was just like, okay, these are entertaining episodes. They're good. But now it's like I'm going back and I'm looking at things a little bit deeper, trying to find the meanings and stuff like that. So I don't really do that a lot of the times with my stuff because I just like to be entertained. But it's nice to do that
Mm.
with this. Is to look at it and just get a deeper perspective, I guess. Do y'all usually review and think of things and look at it deeper when you watch stuff?
I get accused of looking at everything too deeply by by friends of mine when we talk about stuff, just whatever it is. And I don't know if I look, to be really honest. I don't know if I
Mhm.
look. I just, for whatever reason, I see things, and I don't know. Maybe I guess it's maybe the way I'm wired, but yeah, I just usually I rarely see something and don't see something else when I'm looking at it.
Okay, so you are one of those.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about you, Dominic?
It's like a yes and no. Like just due to the fact of me being like a cinematographer and doing all filmmaking, I always just ultra analyze pretty much every single piece of media that I watch, movies, TV shows, whatever. Try to get
Yeah.
like the different meanings, different cinematography techniques, editing techniques, editing mistakes, all that different type of stuff. But I've I'm not gonna lie, after a while I've just had to just shut my brain off so I can be able to just actually enjoy this stuff, and then like watching it through like a second and third time, that's when I'm like, all right, fine, I'll analyze like everything in there now. But I'll be lying if I wasn't like watching it and then it just I start analyzing it more even as I'm watching it.
Oh my gosh, I totally feel that. I definitely try not to, but I'm starting to analyze things like my second go around. So yeah, I'm starting to be there with y'all. Well, I want to thank y'all so much for being guests again, talking about Atlanta season 3, episode 5. Can't wait till we come back and talk about episode 6. But just introduce you, well, tell the people where they can find you one more time before we get up out of here.
In all things social media, we can be found with the Scenario Radio Show. Just type it in to whatever social media you're on, you will find the Scenario Radio Show. Also, if nothing else, check us out at the scenarioradioshow.com. Real talk with a playlist. Everything that we do is there. A good conversation, good music, and so forth.
Hey,
Yeah.
yes.
And you can find if you want to check out my stuff and follow me, I'm on all type of social medias. Follow me at Slovin Studio, SLVIN Studio, and also go check out Arenda. If you check out my Instagram, you'll be able to find the link on there, or just search Arenda No Budget.
Awesome. Yes. So thank y'all so much. And we are out. Peace.